So Patrick Mahomes looked like vintage Patrick Mahomes on Sunday night against the Lions. He threw 3 touchdowns, he ran for another, and the Chiefs won 30-17. After their slow start, Kansas City suddenly is only a game back in the AFC West. Mahomes, though, is now favored to win the MVP at ESPN Bet. Josh Allen's 2, Baker Mayfield's right there, Drake May is right there. Mahomes was as long of odds as plus 2,500 to win MVP at the end of September. So I ask, after just one of these wins on Sunday night, should Mahomes really be a top MVP candidate?
Not yet. Jeez. I mean, they beat the Giants, they beat Detroit, they beat Baltimore. Baltimore's defense was terrible, played very well Sunday night, and he's the best player in the league. We know that. How is anybody worse odds or better odds than, in this case, worse 200 to 300 than Baker Mayfield? I mean, Baker Mayfield's been unbelievable. He's 5-1. Every game they win is incredible. That third down scramble for the first
down. 14 was incredible.
Was one of the great plays you're ever going to see. He scored 1 million points against San Francisco, albeit a bad defense because there obviously a lot of injuries with Bosa and Fred Warner in the second quarter of that game. But he has to be the MVP. They've won all these great comeback games. Atlanta, Seattle. I mean, Houston on 4th down. How in the world is he not the MVP? Top choice by far. I put Prescott over Mahomes, and I'm not knocking Mahomes. Lots of times, Pat Riley never used to win an MVP as the NBA coach of the Lakers because they all thought it was because he had magic. Kareem and
coach
Pat never, coach of the year, and he never won a coach, and that bothered people. And I know Mahomes is in the same kind of boat. They're so good, you almost take them for granted. So I get that. But right now, without a doubt, Baker Mayfield should be much higher, by far the favorite, and much lower odds than plus 300 to win the MVP in the NFL.
Stephen A?
Well, I agree with Doggy about Baker Mayfield, right? But let's not act like Patrick Mahomes doesn't belong in the conversation. Yeah, you got Baker Mayfield, Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones. Those are names that come to mind. And damn it, why don't we throw Drake May in there?
Let's go.
The way he's looking right now, okay? So we got to do that too. But here's why you have to include Patrick Mahomes. Not just because of his greatness, but let's also take this into account, Doggy. We know he's coming. You didn't have Xavier Worthy for a few games. You didn't have Rashee Rice for the first 6 games. You didn't have any running game because Pacheco and Kareem Hunt weren't giving you much. So what has Patrick Mahomes done? He's led the team in rushing and rushing touchdowns. Okay, that's what he has done. They got a top 10 offense, 8th in yards, 9th in scoring. We go a bit further over the last 3 weeks. The first 3 weeks of the season, or rather just 3 weeks ago, the man had a passer rating in the low 80s with only 3 touchdown passes. And since then, he's posted 10 total touchdowns and just 1 turnover over the last 3 games. He's now got 15 touchdowns on the season, 11 touchdown passes, 4 touchdown runs, 1,736 total yards on the season. Once again, leads the league in both TD passes and TD runs from the quarterback position, or total touchdowns, actually. And again, I remind you, reiterating, leading the team in both rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. That is a quarterback that is saying, no matter what the conditions are, no matter what what obstacles lie in my wait, I will find a way to keep us afloat as long as I'm breathing. That is what he has done. And so now we're looking at the Kansas City Chiefs. We see Buffalo and what happened with them on Monday night against Atlanta. We don't necessarily believe in Pittsburgh yet. Drake May is still young, okay, in his second year at the quarterback spot. You yourself brought up Indianapolis' schedule, wondering about them, even though one could easily argue they're the most well-balanced team in football. Jacksonville hasn't sold, most people ain't sold on Jacksonville. Denver still's got issue with their offense, even though their defense is elite. The Chargers are still relevant, beating the Kansas City Chiefs, but that was at the opener in Brazil, which you came on Mad Dog, what are you mad about, and complained about the travel, and you blame that more than the actual game itself. So you pointed that out.
It's crazy.
Right now, that once again, even a game back in the AFC West, we are looking at the Kansas City Chiefs as the team to beat in the AFC.
I will say
that's
this.
Patrick Mahomes,
Stephen
all day,
right.
every day.
I would add, shame on the Ravens, shame on the Bills, shame on these teams.
Not taking advantage of the moment.
They were 0-3. You had the Chiefs down, and now they're right back in the club. They walked right back in. They've got the best table in the club. They get Rashee Rice back. Worthy's here. We're healthy. And all of a sudden, they've got their Chiefs thing going on, and Brian Branch comes after Mahomes. Juju takes a shot. That stuff, they galvanize around that stuff. I find it that it's more about the future. Baker's been amazing. They're all banged up. People are looking at, he gets Rasheed Rice back. He gets Worthy back.
Peter,
this is what they're looking at.
My only correction to you, my brother, they were never 0-3. They were 0-2. And then they walked in and they beat the Giants on the road. You understand? They beat the Giants on the road. East Rutherford right down the block. They said, we can't go to 0-3 because their season would have been in grave jeopardy.
And how about Sam? This is where Sammy, our producer.
What's he got?
Sam, should Mahomes be a top MVP candidate? Change the A to the.
Ooh.
Should Mahomes be the?
Top MVP
that's the better question. The A. Of course he's an MVP. How could he not be an MVP candidate? We know he's an MVP candidate.
Well, first of all, he wouldn't have been an MVP candidate had they started the season 0-3 and they're sitting here 2-4 right now. Okay, that's number one. Number two, look at you to dime out our producers like that. This is what you do. You do this on Mad Dog Sports Radio as well. You call out your own. You call out your own contemporaries
this is
all
ridiculous.
the time.
How does he make that error?
You mess their names up all the time, and then you call them out like you're the paragon of virtue. You're the epitome of perfection. Doggy never makes any mistakes, even though you make mistakes every single damn day, even though it's the Mad Dog channel. That's what you do. You're unbelievable, man.
That's a terrible job by Sam. Of course he's a top MVP candidate. The question should be, should Mahomes be the top MVP candidate?
Well, first,
that's a terrible producing error.
First off, I want to shout out Samuel Tanucci. I think you're a wonderful producer.
He's a nice
great job.
He's a great producer.
He's a great producer. You deserve that credit, Doggy. That's messed up.
He makes Doggy look good every week. If it wasn't for Sam, I don't know how Doggy might look 80.
80. Easy.
Can I add another name real quick though? Because I was in Atlanta. 80. I was in Atlanta, and Raheem Morris looks at me, and I'm doing the production meeting, and he says, "I have had Cooper Kupp in his Triple Crown season. I've had Julio Jones in his Super Bowl season. I had RG3 when he was tearing up the league. I have never had a better player than this Bijan.
He's right about that.
238 yards from scrimmage on Monday, 181. Now, I know we don't give this award to running backs for whatever reason since 2012. If they continue to win, I will tell you, Penix is a nice player. This team is built around that guy. Is there a window where we give the running back the award for the first time in 14 years?
I think you definitely could consider that. And they'd have to win 11 games. And, the Chiefs would have to be pedestrian. And Mayfield would have to fall off the clay for the. And same with Prescott, by the way, who's played very, very well. But, yeah, I can make it. He is great.
He's special.
And he catches the ball out of the backfield and everything else. Stevie?
He's an absolute stud. But Saquon got Offensive Player of the Year, but he didn't get League MVP last year.
Point.
That went to Josh Allen. So we got to pay attention to that, number one. Number two, they're not in first place. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in their own division. You want to win league MVP honors, you beat John Robinson, you put up those kind of numbers Saquon Barkley put up, plus you win your division.
No, I agree
and
with
you
that.
Resurrect the Atlanta Falcons, then we're talking about him as an MVP.
Two great takes.
I agree. Have to win the division.
I think the former take is great, too. If Saquon set that bar there and he didn't get MVP, Bijan has to blow him out of the water.
Well, that's where the quarterback has to be average, have average quarterback here for the running back to win it. Last year, Allen was great, so you had to give it to him. And you had Lamar, too. He apologized the other day, but Aaron Glenn, oh, my goodness. Schrager can coach better than he can.
Hey, now.
He has been terrible. They're 0-6, first time ever, as you know, for a first-time head coach. The Jets have been 0-6 twice in their history. What he did at the end of the half in the morning. Now, I'm at church, of course, so I didn't see it. But what he did,
of course.
They get a first down, and then they run a nice play on a fake punt. Then they run that play, and then they run the clock out, and he doesn't throw a Hail Mary, doesn't try to kick a field goal, and his excuse was, well, we're getting the ball at the start of the second half. I mean, this is ridiculous. They're at midfield for crying out loud. Now they're going to go out there and they're going to do the fake punt to get the first down. And then he runs the clock out. I could not believe it at the end of this first half. He's looking at the sidelines, no commitment, no nothing. Glenn has done a terrible job. He punts on 4th and short inside the 50-yard line. He called the timeout the other day and then punted after the timeout and didn't go for the first down. Again, he's got an offensive coordinator and play caller who never called plays twice before this year. I mean, I know Fields has been terrible. I know they've been a little unlucky. They could have won the Pittsburgh game, maybe this game too. But geez, when you're this bad at 0-5 and you got a first down right near midfield with 27 seconds to go at the end of the half, you can't let the half run out. Throw the ball. Hail Mary, do something. And I hate to pick on him. He just started, and he's an ex-Jet. He loves Parcells. I understand. Tony Dungy, Jimmy Johnson. I understand. But, gee, goodness gracious, Aaron, have a little feel. You got nothing to lose. Make a play, and then you punt. Oh, my God, that drove me crazy. That is number 3. Number 3. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I have a bonus in a second.
And into the game, they're running the ball well. Taking sacks at the end. Like this was and then they announced, and I think Rich Cimini asked him, "Hey, did you think about going to Tyrod?"
Oh, never did. He's like, "Why would I?
How could I ever?" So
I understand why Jets fans are very frustrated because that game, from start to finish, didn't make sense. But the whole season, from week 1, playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, you thought, okay, they got some life, and since then, they've just been a sinking ship.
Well, Steve, you got any comments? Hello.
Hello.
I'm right here. I'm a bit tepid, Doggy, in terms of my position on it because I unapologetically root for African American coaches on any level, and that includes obviously the National Football League. Aaron Glenn has been awful, to the point where it wouldn't surprise me at all if this is his only season coaching the New York Jets. It's been very, very bad. I'm hoping that is not the case, Kimberly, Jessica. I mean, but when you look at how the Chicago Bears are looking, with Ben Johnson coaching them, he was Detroit's offensive coordinator, and you look at how Aaron Glenn is coaching in New York with the Jets, for the moment anyway, it's so bad, and it's such a discrepancy. It has you looking back at the Detroit Lions last year and saying, why the hell were they so good? Because that's Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson. Now you're wondering about their defense. And they had a boatload of injuries on the defensive side of the ball, which one would argue was the reason why they lost to the Washington Commanders in the postseason. But I'm just saying to you, no matter what the facts are, the discrepancy and how they look with their respective franchises, the 2 former coordinators for the Detroit Lions last year, because of how bad the Jets have looked discombobulated, disorganized, all over the place. You got cats that are out on the field making business decisions now because they don't want to be there. They don't want to be a part of this. It looks like an absolute mess, and Aaron Glenn has done nothing to alleviate it. It's worse than it was last year.